to work, and I'ma gauge my progress by the sign of the word. Now I ain't yet a success, but yes, the word that I stress. Cause by the time you hear the CD, count the steps that I've left. I'm passing all of your rappers, it's just a matter of time.
That's the confidence of God, cause he got me. That's why I really feel like you can't stop me. Yo, my name is Paulo Rivera, and this is the edition of Make It Happen Mondays. Yo, check this out. Today is the 259th day of the year. We approaching 100 days left. We approaching that final countdown. You know what I'm saying? But check this out. Before I go any further, let me just announce that this is the day that the Lord has made, and I have decided to rejoice and be glad in it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so check this out, man. As you can tell, I'm motivated. I'm highly motivated, truly dedicated, right? And that's why we're here. That's why I'm here to share with you today, right? So I'm hoping that you feeling this motivation. I'm hoping that you get inspired by it, right? It ain't easy to wake up every Monday and be ready to go, right? It's not easy. It's something that is applied, and it takes effort and consistency, right? So that's where we at right now. You know what I'm saying? If you've been rocking with me from the beginning, we already up to like 60, 70 episodes, something like that, of specifically Make It Happen Mondays, not to mention the motivational moments and all that, right? So how you been doing, right? You succeed at everything, right? Did you fail at some things? Did some outcomes not exactly happen the way you necessarily wanted them to happen, right? Good. That's good, right? Yes, I'm counting your failures. That's good. I'm counting the outcomes that didn't necessarily happen the way you wanted to happen, right? That's good. The reason why is because that means that you're aware. If you can sit there and you can talk about it, if you can say, you know, what I wanted was this, great. That means that you got some sort of awareness. And that's what we're going to talk about today, right? I always be talking about if you could take that self-inventory, right? Realize what it is that you putting in, what it is that you taking out, right? What it is that you processing, what is it that you saving, what is it that you got to spend, right? What processes are you improving along the way? You know what I'm saying? So all of these things, that's what we're going to talk about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down into 5 categories, 5 topics that you should be aware of. We're going to jump in. We're going to jump right back out, right? me. Yo, I told you I got 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? So if every time I'm on here, I'm like, sorry, I got a little bit of a cold, you know why? You know what I'm saying? But listen, it's a labor of love, you know what I'm saying? Because I love all my children, and if they make me sick because I'm around them, well, right? Just got to increase my multivitamins or something like that, right? But check it out. The 5 categories that we're going to talk about today are distractions, triggers that trigger you, triggers that you trigger in other people, habits, and blind spots, right? Distractions, triggers, habits, blind spots. All right, so let's go. First one. Distractions, right? Usually you're going to be distracted of one or a number of these 3 things, right? It's something that worries you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and it can be the same thing that you're working on, but your brain goes to the worry part, right? So if you're studying for a test, right? And you worry that, I don't know this material, or there's a whole lot that I need to study before I'm ready to take this test. You know what I'm saying? So you're worried about it rather than studying what it is that you should be studying, right? Don't do that. Because all you're doing is preventing yourself from preparing. You know what I'm saying? When you worry, you're either thinking of something that hasn't happened yet or something that already did. You ain't got control over neither one of those. But what you do have control over is the right now. You see what I'm saying? So stop the worrying, all right? It's a distraction. The next thing is something that you love, something or someone, right? It's the opposite of the worry, you see what I'm saying? But it's still the same in regards to it's a distraction, right? So I understand you love people, right? That's fantastic, right? But if you're trying to be a better person for those who you love, you can't be distracted by the love that you have for them. Or it will be a hindrance when trying to express that love. You see what I'm saying? So stop being distracted by your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving you any tickets on how to not be distracted. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving you any pointers, right? But what I am doing is I'm trying to assist you in becoming more aware by focusing on these 5 areas, right? We could talk about how it is that we can prevent these distractions or at least tamp them down a little bit in some future episodes. But right now we're going to talk about those 5 categories, right? Like I said, distractions, triggers, habits, and blind spots. We just covered 2 of the distractions. The last one is something else that you're working on that's pulling your mind away from what you're currently working on. You understand that? So you being productive and you working on something, right? And perhaps you multitasking, right? But we know that multitasking, you can't actually do two things at one time productively, right? So you got something, maybe you put it aside so that you can get a little farther ahead on this particular project, and your mind keeps, you physically here, you got all whatever it is that you need to do this, but your mind keeps pulling yourself over there, right? You can't do that. You need alignment. You know what I'm saying? A house divided, I'm sure you heard the saying, and I ain't going to try to go farther into it, because if I do, I know the concept, but I forgot the words, and I don't like doing that. But, house divided, no way, no. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the three things: something that worries you, something you love, or another project that you're doing that's pulling you away from that, right? Focus on that. You want to be able to identify it, right? The reason why you want to be able to identify it is because if it's not identified, you can't fix it, right? All right, cool. Let's go to number 2. Distractions. You know what I'm saying? So distraction. Oh, sorry. Just covered all distractions. Your triggers. The triggers. Look, I'm distracted, right? Because I'm thinking of the next thing I want to tell you. So focus. Triggers, right? So what is it that triggers you? What is it that easily gets you pissed, right? And it might even be from a particular person, not even necessarily the action or the statement itself. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes somebody just triggers you. You know what I mean? They walk in and be like, hey, what's up? You're like, this person right here, man. You know what I'm saying? And it just bothers you because it's the person. It ain't that somebody came in and said, what's up? It's just that person, they trigger you. You know what I'm saying? I talked about it in one of my, I don't know if it was a Make It Happen Monday or just a motivational moment about how somebody could say a racial slur back in the day, and that was like pushing a button and I just jumped into action. You know what I'm saying? That is a trigger. You know what I mean? Literally, somebody does this and boom, the bullet comes out, right? So that's a trigger. You want to be able to not allow either A, for people to know what your triggers are, or B, if they do, for them to not be triggers, right? Because when I had that discussion with my father, he told me everybody knows what you're going to do once they say that. So now they controlling you, right? You want to be able to take control of your life. You want to be able to take control of your actions. You don't want somebody else to make that happen. You feel me? We make things happen, all right? So another trigger, something that makes you mad, something that makes you feel uneasy. You know what I mean? Maybe you going into a territory. I remember when I was younger, I can spell, right? If you asked me how to spell a word, I'd be able to spell it. But as soon as I sat down in English class and they were like, pull out your papers, number from 1 to 20 or whatever. I don't know what it was, but then you'd ask me words that I was able to spell no problem, literally the last period, and I wouldn't do it. Something about that was making me feel uneasy, right? Something about it was. And honestly, I never really figured it out. I passed, you know what I'm saying? But I never really figured it out. Even to this day, the application of information that I retain, I can do. But sometimes when I'm put in a little test situation, and I don't feel any different, right? But check it out, though. My point behind this is I recognize it to be a trigger. And I do things to try to make it so that it's not a trigger. You know what I'm saying? And maybe just time has passed and I've improved on that, but it was definitely a trigger and it still kind of is, right? And I'm always working on that. You know what I'm saying? But at least I'm aware that it's one of my triggers. You see what I'm saying? And then, what about the controllable things that you do, right? That are triggers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a boss, right? A former boss of mine who used to talk about cookies. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, oh man, one is too many, and all of them is never enough. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. That was one of his triggers. Is he knows that he ain't gonna sit there and eat a cookie, because if he has the one cookie, he's gonna want all the cookies, and then that's gonna be a problem. You know what I'm saying? So your triggers. Things that trigger you. All right? Distractions, triggers to you. Now, distractions, triggers. Now we're going to talk about triggers. The triggers, things that you do that trigger other people, right? So what's annoying about you? Listen, when you're taking a self-inventory, it's kind of crazy, right? What is annoying about you, right? I got my boy, right? He's my boy. He's one of my bestest friends. You know what I'm saying? I could sit there and I could tell you some things that he did for me or times that he just showed up, you know what I'm saying? That qualify that as being my best friend, right? But one time we were sitting there talking and he just looked at me and he was like, Pablo, I'm gonna choke the out of you. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, what? Because I was being annoying. You know what I'm saying? But hey, sometimes I do that. I try to play around. Sometimes I just act, I'm like the king of dad jokes, and I ain't never been I wasn't a dad, you know what I'm saying? I'm a papi now because Boricua, right? But regardless, I'm just full of those type of things, you know what I mean? I like to joke around, I like to play and stuff like that, right? Well, it was annoying because he was all done with the play. He was laughing, but he was done with it. And he was like, yo, and I kept on going. And he's like, man, I'm going to choke the out of you, you know what I'm saying? What is it that's annoying about you, right? And it might be something that you're good at, like me. I'm a happy, positive, joyous, ha 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 type of person. You know what I'm saying? But you got to understand how to be able to deliver that message. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people don't want it in their face all the time, and I recognize that. That's why I'm super motivated in these Make It Happen Mondays, because the Make It Happen Mondays is where you're gonna look for that high energy, high motivation. You're looking for the message too, but you want it in a high energy type of way, you know what I'm saying? And then some other venues or some other conduits that I use, not so energetic, right? But these 100% are, right? So if you're being honest, right? Are you a know-it-all? Is every time you get the opportunity to be like, actually, that's incorrect because, all right, cool, right? You know what I mean? Or are you like a broken record? I told you you shouldn't have done this. I told you. Like, come on, man. You ain't a parrot. Right? Told you. You know what I mean? Like, chill. You know what I mean? Again, triggers in you for other people, right? Cool. So we just talked about distractions, your triggers, the triggers in you for other people, habits, right? You know, I always be talking about habits, right? Because good habits are fantastic. You know what I mean? You do something, you consistently follow through with that. It creates a habit. A habit creates characteristics, you know, and it becomes who you are. You see what I'm saying? The good ones are good. The bad ones, are you aware of what it is that your bad habits are? Are you aware that they should be changed, regardless of how to change them? Are you aware that they're bad habits and they should change? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're drinking a little too much. Maybe you're puffing a little too much. Maybe you shouldn't be puffing at all. You know what I mean? Or drinking at all. Maybe you got a family history of eating and getting high cholesterol and blood pressure and heart attacks, and you probably shouldn't be going to McDonald's all the time. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, if you got a bad habit that is living inside of you, are you aware of it? Again, today is just simply about awareness. You see what I'm saying? Lastly, I'm going to talk about your blind spots. What are they? Well, dang, Pablo, they blind spots. How am I supposed to know? No. I get that, right? When you're driving a car, you know there's a blind spot here, right? So you have a plan of action on how you drive so that you can always check that blind spot. Now, I understand sometimes they got that little light. Cool. Maybe that's one of the features that you got in your life. Maybe you got somebody who's going to be that little blinking light and be like, yo, you jumping off track here, right? But what are your blind spots? If you don't know what they are, now you know where to start focusing your attention on, because we all got blind spots, right? Can you have someone be that little blinker? And if you don't, maybe you need to start talking to people to find out who can be that. You understand what I'm saying? When a blinker on the mirrors, you know what I mean? The newer cars, when the car comes up and in your blind spot, the little yellow light pops up in the rearview mirror. Do you have somebody who can be your co-pilot, who can help? Yo, you're falling off here. You're falling off. You know what I mean? Is there somebody who can actually be that mirror for you and show you where it is that you're falling off at, right? And somebody who you trust so that you don't necessarily take it some kind of way when they start telling you what it is that they're telling you. You see what I'm saying? Are you willing to change? Even if you get that person in place who can be that mirror, who can be that little blinky light on the rearview mirror, are you willing to accept it and then willing to change? Are you? And are you looking to improve, or are you just looking to stay the same? If you ain't looking to improve, then all of this that I just talked about for the last 13 minutes don't really matter. You see what I'm saying? You need to be willing to improve. Listen, that's my message for the day. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go into it a little bit farther in some other weeks and all that. But what I wanted you to do right now is, you know, we talk about they got alcoholics and all that, right? Alcoholic. The first step is acknowledging that you are an alcoholic. You need to stand up and say, my name is blah, 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 and I'm alcoholic. Because that, once you got that awareness, once you got it in your brain that that's what you are, well, and you don't want to, and you have the desire to improve, and you are willing to change, and you have people who are holding you accountable, right? You know, now you can really start making some progress, right? I'm telling you right now. Listen, if you can focus on distractions, triggers to you, the triggers in you to other people, your habits and your blind spots, just by focusing on it with the desire to be better, you're going to start trying to find some different ways to improve. You know what I'm saying? That's my message for today. Listen, I'm hoping that you decide to rejoice and be glad in today. I'm hoping that you are motivated. I'm hoping that you are inspired. And as always, if this did help you, share it with somebody. Let them know. Watch it with somebody. Make it part of your Monday routine. You know what I'm saying? But until next time, I want y'all to know that I believe in you and you are all phenomenal people. My name is Pablo Rivera. It's Make It Happen Monday.
Ain't no time to think about it, only time to react. Your intuition under pressure weigh you down on your back. I scribble thoughts in my palm, I sing it when I get home. Organize my inner visions while I'm chilling and calm. A politician's mind state, that means I'm nice on my speech. Plus I peep the government, wait for my knowledge to peak. crazy nights.